Game over, man. Game over. Johnny.
You're gonna need a bigger boat.
So serious.
Roll out.
I am Iron Man.
This is a tasty burger.
Welcome to the In Session Film Podcast.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Chasing the Gold. I'm your co-host Shadan Larky. I'm joined by my other much beloved co-host Erica Richards and a special guest today, Jordan Walker, my dear friend. And we thought we'd do something a little bit different today, which is touch on television, which is weird given that this is In Session Film. But TV has just been such a huge part of pop culture and our lives. And it's Emmy season. So we thought, we'd touch on the races a little bit, just what we've been watching, get some recommendations, and just dive into the TV season. So to start off, I thought it would be fun if we each sort of mention 3 shows so that the audience could get an idea of our TV tastes and who we are as TV watchers. So Jordan, given that you are my guest today, I'll let you go first.
Thank you. Well, I have to admit, I am a huge sitcom junkie. I know that might turn people off instantly. I think it's probably just of the age that I am, early 30s. I grew up on Nick at Night and TV Land. I'm very much a product of what my mother watched when I was younger. So I love sitcoms. Anybody who knows me knows one of my favorite shows, if not my favorite show, is Frasier, the 1993 to 2004 version. Definitely, I do watch Frasier every night for bed. It's just, it soothes me. Like I can be out in like 15 minutes. Once I hear that theme song, I'm kind of drifting off. So that is definitely one show to kind of get to know my taste. Another sitcom from like the 90s, early 2000s, love The King of Queens. It's just something I could put on in the background, just laugh, giggle if I'm like feeling down. Like every single episode I know by heart, also thanks to my mom. And just pivoting a little bit from the sitcoms, I do love reality TV. I'm a huge Bravo guy. Anything Housewives, Summer House, Vanderpump, Watch What Happens Live, Andy Cohen, I'm all in it. So among other things, I do the prestige TV thing as well, but those are the 3 shows to get to know me the most.
So, Jordan, I haven't watched a single episode of Housewives. If I were to start, what do I start with?
You start with Atlanta. 100%. You start season 1, Atlanta. It was the flagship franchise for so long.
But that's not the Teresa Giudice where she flips the table, right?
No, that's Jersey. That's Jersey.
Of course it's Jersey.
Yeah. Yeah. But if you're ever in the mood for a Housewives binge, always start with Atlanta.
All right. Erica, what about you?
Oh gosh, Jordan, you've said so many good things that sparked so many shows for me. I thought I had my list and now I'm kind of changing it in my head, but I think I will stick with my original list. I'm also a child of the 90s and grew up on sitcoms. Friends is 100% like people when things happen in the Friends world universe, I get texts from multiple people. Unfortunately, when Matthew Perry passed away, I literally got 14 text messages that day. Like people are like, "Are you okay? Are you okay?" So I grew up on Friends. I've seen every episode countless times. I know them all by heart. I've gone to many of Friends trivia nights and walked out with wins, and it's just it also is one of those that I can put on as like background noise. I can put it on to cheer myself up after like a bad day, but I can also put it on just to like fall asleep, or like sometimes I'll put it on and I'm like, okay, I'm watching this too intently and I need to turn something else on so I can fall asleep kind of thing. So definitely Friends is my number 1. Then also I would be shunned if I didn't shout out this one because I'm from Baltimore. I'm very proud to be from Baltimore. So of course, arguably the best show ever made, The Wire. I have to admit though, it took me a really long time. I I guess not a really long time to watch The Wire. When it was like airing like on HBO, I was way too young to be watching it. So then like in my early 20s, I like did my first watch of it, and then I've just done multiple rewatches since then. I don't know if either of you have watched it.
I haven't. And that's like one of the like dark spots in my TV, blank spots that I'm so
Yeah.
ashamed of. And
It's a
I'm like,
blind spot.
yeah.
Yeah, highly recommend. It's it definitely changed like television and even like, you know, any kind of like, you know, the way like television and film is made, I think. The way it was written and the way it was, you know, just all of it. Watch it. It's so good. It's so good. And for me, it's very much like, oh my gosh, I know where that is. I know I've driven past it, or I know exactly where that is, you know, or they reference things that are very local. So it's definitely one of those shows for me that is like, I can really, you know, it's close to home because it is home, right?
Right.
And then, gosh, okay, I've been toying with my third one, but I think I have to go with I Love Lucy. That was my mom's favorite show. So I grew up watching that. Jordan, you talked a lot about the influence on your mom, and for me, it's definitely I Love Lucy. It's one of those that like I think everyone should go back and watch. I think it shaped a lot of the way television is made still today. A lot of really cool history there about the show, and it's just so good and so funny and like timeless and iconic. And I just, yeah, I love I Love Lucy.
Okay,
Great
I'm
list.
so blown away by these lists so far. So I originally had Friends as one of my three, but and I also a child of the 90s, everything that Erica said, copy and paste that for me as well. And Frasier too. It's so funny. I was watching Hacks last night, and even though Jean Smart, like she's done so many things to me, she's always the like, put your brother on the phone. Like every time I see her, I think about so like Friends, Frasier, the entire NBC, like Will and Grace, Seinfeld, like all
Yeah.
of that was like so pivotal for me. So I'll say Sex in the City because that was another show that was big in my development, just in terms of like getting HBO was a huge deal for my family. That I turned into like a prestige TV snob because of Sex in the City. Just like the fact that she was a journalist and she was so like if I'm being completely honest, I think a big part of me going to journalism school was because of like the Carrie Bradshaw fantasy. I think it was very pivotal in my life and in my TV watching. And then I'll say Succession, just because like the intersection of like politics and media and family, like these are all themes that I really like in shows and films that I watch. So I feel like if I were to make a show and put all the ingredients that I like, it would probably be Succession. It's such a Shadan show to me. And then for my third show, I'm going with Downton Abbey because I love the like over the topness. I love that kind of like the stakes are low and it's just like a cozy. I mean, actually, the stakes aren't low. A lot of crazy shit happens, but like it just feels like a cozy. I don't know. So I love it. They just today announced that they're doing a third movie. Is the third movie going to be good? Probably not. Do I care? Absolutely not. So yeah, Downton Abbey was also really, and that's like I've seen the show like 5 times. Like if I'm just sad and I need to put something on, Downton Abbey is my go-to. So yeah, that's those are my 3. So I wanted to pivot into like what we're watching now. What are you guys? Have you seen anything recently? Are you catching up with anything kind of as we head into peak TV season?
Well, I'm always catching up, and you never know what to watch because like I'm in the middle of like a handful of shows right now, and then I'm like looking at Gold Derby. I have it up on my screen, and it's like the shows that I'm watching are like, you know, shows that are like Emmy bait, and like nobody's predicting any of them. So I'm like I'm totally like down like the wrong rabbit hole. I just started Sugar on Apple TV with Colin Farrell. Loved the first 6 episodes and kind of just waiting until Friday to see how it ends. But I loved the first 6. I loved the character. I love the story. He's just like, John Sugar just seems like such a nice guy, who doesn't want to hurt or do any, bad in the world. And there's just not that many characters on TV right now that are just genuinely good for no reason. And then Amy Ryan is great in it as well. Last night I just finished A Man in Full with Jeff Daniels on Netflix. Stay away. I was scrolling on somewhere online and they kind of compared it to Succession. So I'm like, oh, okay, let's, check it out. And it was none of the sort. Basically a quick rundown. He's like a Trump-ish businessman in Atlanta, and, the government and his ex-wife is trying to take his business away. And then there was like an unnecessary, like, social justice storyline that had no tie into the plot whatsoever. And it's from David E. Kelly. So if I want social justice, he's not the person I'm going to for that. So I don't recommend that one. And I was also The Veil. Started that with Elizabeth Moss, just because Elizabeth Moss. Not sure if I'm gonna finish that though.
Jordan, when you watch TV, because Eric and I were talking about this. I used to be a completionist in that, like, if I started a show, I would just finish it because I felt like, particularly a miniseries, right? I felt like I've already invested so much time in it. I'm just gonna finish it and see where it goes. But now I feel like with the amount of TV, that's just becoming harder and harder. Where if I'm like 2 or 3 episodes into something and I just don't connect to it, I kind of have to let it go and move on. So how do you sort of approach? Or do you like wait until you finish a show before starting another one? Do you watch 2 or 3 shows at the same time? Like, what are your...
I usually juggle, and this is what I've always done. Even before like peak TV, all of this, I always gave a show 3 episodes, no matter if it's a half hour, if it's broadcast, drama, limited series. I always give it 3 episodes, because usually where it's going to go, it's going to grab you. So right now, The Veil is on its 3rd episode. I'm kind of like in between. I'm like, I'm going to watch one more. The other show I was thinking of, The Sympathizer on Max. I think that's 4 or 5 episodes in. I think at this point, I'm like halfway through, so I'll continue watching. I'm enjoying it. It's here or there. But yeah, I always give it 3 episodes, and then if I'm not sure by episode 3, because sometimes like I know at the end of the first episode, this is not for me, i.e. The Regime just was not what I was hoping for, not what I wanted from, Kate Winslet's latest HBO Max offering. But yeah, 3 episodes.
It's funny, when I brought up that question, I was thinking of The Regime because I was so excited for that show.
Yeah.
I love anything Kate Winslet, and like particularly her TV work has been some of the best work of her career. But oh man, I've only seen 2 episodes of The Regime, but I am struggling. And The Sympathizer too, I was really looking forward to that one, and I want to watch it because I feel like RDJ is going to be such a big part of the conversation, but I'm struggling.
Remind me what The Regime is, because I also love Kate Winslet, and I feel like I remember seeing that, but I haven't watched any of it.
So she's playing like this leader of a European country, and then she's like very OCD, so she brings in like this security guy, and then I guess they fall for each other, and the tone is just very strange. It looks great. I mean, production design, costume design, all that stuff that you would expect from like a HBO, but just the tone is all over the place. Like it's like,
I don't know if it's a comedy. Does it want to be a comedy? Does it want to be a drama? They tried to do too much Succession, I think, in that, where they wanted to lean into the drama, but also dabble in comedy a little bit. And for me, the first episode, I was just not into it. And my partner, he's not a TV watcher, but he loves like politics and things like that. So if I can tie, politics or, policy, some kind of TV show like that in, that'll grab his attention. He wanted to continue, but since I own the remote, I kind of just like hope time would pass or he would forget.
Erica, what about you? What have you dabbled in? What have you been watching lately?
So it's funny, actually. we just decided that we wanted to start a rewatch of The Bear to get ready for the new season. So we just, right before I hopped on here, we just finished the first like a rewatch of the first season. It's just so good. We're also planning to do a rewatch of Severance before that new season comes out, which love Severance, and I'm so excited. New stuff that I've been watching though, I just feel like, I don't know, my relationship with television has changed so much over the past few years. Like, um, I feel like I have such little time now that like I just have really concentrated on watching like films and things that I, either new things or things that I haven't seen. Um, and there's only like a few shows that I really keep up with. And then like I just watch, like, if I'm watching TV, if it's not something like Queer Eye on Netflix or Love is Blind on Netflix, I'm watching like Survivor. Like, I got back into Survivor, or I'm like watching some type of true crime documentary, like,
Yeah.
I just feel like television has changed so much over the years, like the past few years. And like, even things that like are on TV, I kind of like, especially with like Abbott Elementary, like I'll let them pile up and then I'll like watch them all at once, which is weird because I'm like, oh, I don't really have time, but it's like it kind of equals like a movie time, right? Like a few hours, it's a few episodes. I don't know. It's just like I just feel like TV is so different now. Like classic, what is like we call television, is just so different now. We've also been rewatching a lot of Brooklyn Nine-Nine. So it's also in my house a lot of rewatching old stuff. Like we'll go through phases where we rewatch The Office a lot or we rewatch Friends a lot. Right now it's Brooklyn Nine-Nine. So yeah, I don't know, like classic, like what you call television. Yeah, I also kind of do this thing too where one of my friends has kind of rubbed off on me. She's like, I don't let myself get into something because of fear of either like like the next season not getting like it not getting renewed, right? Like with new shows, getting really into something and then it's like it's only 2 seasons and then poof, it's gone and then you're like disappointed. Or she's like, no, I don't want to do it until I'm like there's like a few seasons, so that way she has something to like sit down and watch. You know what I mean?
Well, let me add to that because
Yeah.
it's so frustrating now with TV, and I'll use The Bear for an example. And this is just really kind of anything on streaming or cable. You watch it, and especially if it's a binge release, you have to wait like a year and a half, sometimes 2 years for like another season. And there's just so much content, you either forget that it's going to come back, or by the time it does come back, you just don't remember what happened. So you kind of have to go back and like binge the whole, the prior season. And like personally, I don't have time for that.
Exactly.
And so
Yes.
it's tough.
That's exactly why we're doing a rewatch, because we're like, oh, it's been so long since we watched The Bear. And then Severance, it's like, oh my God, it's been so long since we watched Severance, right? And even like Severance is one of those that's like coming out weekly, right? And like it's still just like with COVID and all the like writer strike and all the things, it's just been so long. So yeah, it's like, yeah, you do have to go back and do like a rewatch of a binge and like rewatch to be caught up, right? So that's also why I was like, I'm gonna get back into Survivor, because I just think it's like it's a fun watch. It's like really addicting. It's week to week. I know there's always going to be a next season around the corner, so it's like something like safe like that. Or I used to be a big like I used to be a religious watcher of The Bachelor, and I've just kind of fallen off of that. Like it's just like, oh my God, it's 2 hours every week. Like it's just too much. So yeah, that's a really good point.
You guys like literally touched on everything that I had in my brain to the point about The Bachelor. So I have cut out a lot of like reality TV, but The Bachelor is like the one thing that I'm like, I'm just gonna give myself this show, and I know it's problematic, and I know it needs to be updated. I get it. It's terrible. There's better things that I could be doing with my time, but I gotta have it.
No judgment. One of my best friends works on The Bachelor and has for a very long time. Yeah, we'll talk.
Oh
we'll
my
talk
God.
offline, Shadan. We'll talk offline.
But in terms of reality, I have been really into The Traitors, like obsessed with The
Oh
Traitors.
yeah. Oh yes, absolutely.
I've heard of that, but again, haven't watch it.
Erica, it's like if Among Us and like The Mole and a little bit of Survivor and like Agatha Christie all got together and had a
Ooh.
child, that would be.
And they have people from Survivor on
Yeah.
on Traitors, and like Big Brother and The Bachelor. Yeah.
Okay, what's it on? I have her. You're like not the first person to tell me to
It's
watch
on
it.
Peacock.
Okay,
Yeah.
I'll take a look.
No, it's interesting you mentioned though, like not because I was watching Hacks last night. I started the new season and I couldn't remember anything. Like fully, I don't know. I was like, who's this person? I don't know. Like I was out of it. And it's really hard. And it's funny because when I reached out to Jordan to do this episode, you were like, I don't think I've seen enough TV. And I was like, that's why you need to be on this podcast, because we can talk about, because it really is like it's so much. And before we started recording, we're talking about The Curse with Emma Stone and Nathan Fielder, and I really like the show. I know a lot of people are very mixed on it, but I don't see, and Jordan, you've seen the whole thing, so tell me how you feel about this. I'm 5 episodes into it, but I don't understand why we needed 10-hour-long episodes. Like, even we're getting to a point, we're like, our mini series now don't even feel mini anymore. Like, everything is just too long. And then with broadcast TV, I feel like shows are not like are not given the opportunity to fully develop. Because I've also sort of started a rule for myself that I will not watch anything in the first season because I feel like it's just going to be yanked. So something like Not Dead Yet, I was like, oh, like this show looks cute. I might start to get into it. Boom, canceled, gone. Like, so it's really hard. And I think for me personally, I kind of go to film and TV for two different things. Like when I'm watching a movie, I am perfectly okay with being emotionally devastated because it's only 2 hours long and it's going to end. But with television, because you're spending like a prolonged period of time with these characters, it's a lot harder to deal with like really heavy themes. And so I feel like, a lot of times when I do want to turn on, I either want it to be like background noise or just something comforting. It's really hard to deal. Like the show that I'm thinking of is Baby Reindeer. I know a lot of people binge it all the way through, but it devastated me. Like
we will talk Baby Reindeer 100%. Yes.
If you binged it, more power to you. Let me know.
Yeah, and like in a 2 sittings. I think I did it in a day, but like I had to, after like episode 4, I had to walk away. I'm like, okay, that was a lot.
Yep, that's exactly what we did too. Like, I had heard so much about it. I was like torn on like watching it at all. Like, I was like, but then it was kind of this thing where I'm like, okay, let me see what people are talking about, because I just like heard so much about it. I heard before we started, I heard episode 4 was like a doozy. So we started it, and the episodes are like, they're not quite an hour, but they're not quite like
they're about like 40 minutes.
Yeah. In between,
which is a sweet spot for me. I love that.
Me too. And so I, in my head, was like, okay, episode 4 is like where we'll cut it off, because I heard like it's pretty well. I also heard like it's kind of where you get sucked in, but also it's kind of like like knock you on your ass episode. And it was funny because like my boyfriend, like he had like behind my back like looked up some stuff like already about it. So I had said like, oh, apparently this episode, he's like, oh yeah, I've already looked it all up. But I'm like, what? We just we're just sitting here watching and you're already like looking things up or whatever. But so Sean, you didn't watch past episode 4?
I finished it, but it took me a really long time. Like I think I watched the first 4 episodes together, but then episode 4 just wrecked me so much that I needed to take like a prolonged break. And then I watched like 1 episode every few days after that. So it took me a while to finish. But I mean, I did finish it.
Yeah. The Hangover.
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing is like, I felt like with that kind of show, I have to binge it like in a couple days, or, you know, like 2 or 3 days max, because like, if I like, I need to just like get to the end, you know what I mean? Like, cause it's not like an enjoyable watch, but it's one that like you have to see it through. You know what I'm saying? It's like that kind of show. And it was just like, oh my God, these poor people, like I'm just watching them spiral and spiral and spiral. And like, how much more of it can I take?
Yeah, I hear you on that. That was a great watch. I'm still.
So do we think that's going to be in some conversations for like the Emmys?
I
Oh
absolutely think
yeah.
so. Absolutely.
Hmm.
If it's not, I would be shocked.
Yeah.
And
I
it's
think it's going to
crazy.
be like limited series.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
crazy because it wasn't on Netflix's like radar at all. Like they didn't think it was going to be a player. They weren't doing
Really.
any sort of events for it. I don't think they had an FYC page, nothing. But then the reaction, like they're like basically building a campaign as we speak, and they have started doing events and stuff. But I think like actor, supporting actress, writing for sure, like all of those
Mhm.
things are in
Yeah.
play for Baby Reindeer for sure.
I personally, I think that's. I definitely think it'll get like top 5. I mean, I know there's a few other, Shogun is huge. I think that's taking over right now, even though FX is trying to like squeeze out a second season of that because they're so desperate to get a Best Drama Emmy. They're wanting to move that from limited to drama. Um, but I think Baby Reindeer is one of the top for me. Like I would root and I would shout from the rooftops, Baby Reindeer, the entire season.
What else are you thinking in terms of limited series? Because it is packed. Like,
It's just so much. It's so much. I have no idea. I mean, they really need to expand it from like 5 to 10 or 5.
mhm.
At least 8, with like just the gluttony of limited series out now. I mean, the shows that I've watched, I don't think are going to be like big in play. I haven't seen like Feud, haven't seen True Detective. Um, I watched Apples Never Fall on Peacock.
Oh,
Like I don't think that's going to get in.
I heard that was
Even though
good
like
though.
Annette Bening, but like it was okay, but I don't think that's gonna make a big play. I watched Griselda with Sofia Vergara. I would not be upset if she made it, but like I don't think that's gonna. I don't think she's gonna make that either. I'm just like looking on Gold Derby just to see who like the top 5 are or top 6. And it's you're getting Jodie Foster and Brie Larson, Lessons in Chemistry. Some people have Kate Winslet. Fargo is going to be a big one, I think, as well, just because
yeah.
it had such a huge, like a lot of good reception for it compared to the prior season. So, like John Hamm, Juno Tempo, definitely think that probably makes limited series the top 5. So.
And we know that the Emmys like to go back to what they know. So I feel like they're more likely to go for something like Fargo than they are something that feels like a risk. I started Under the Bridge, which I really
I wanted
like.
to see that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Maybe I'll
it's
start
really
that tonight.
good.
I need something new to watch, so maybe I'll turn that on.
Mhm.
I knew there
Shadan,
was something else I wanted to watch. I just couldn't think of what, and that's what it was.
Shadan, did you finish that?
I'm like 2 episodes into it. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I've only seen the first episode. We have a strict don't make the other person watch something they don't want to watch in my house. So my boyfriend and I, we don't like force each other to watch things. So we watched the first episode of Under the Bridge, and then like 2 days later he was like, "Hey, that show like just really wasn't doing anything for me." And I was like, "Okay, like I'm not, it's like I'm not gonna make him continue to watch it, but I kind of want to see where it goes. So I think I'll still try to catch a few episodes.
I'll go wherever Lily Gladstone wants to go. I don't really care. I'm just
Exactly.
gonna watch it.
Exactly. Yes.
Yeah, I don't know. Limited series, especially, limited series is all over the place, which is why I think something like Baby Reindeer is going to end up doing really well because it's easy to, and it's like picking up steam at the right time. Because you look at something like
Yeah.
Lessons in Chemistry from earlier this year that I really liked, but then I'm like, are people still talking about that? Or All the Light We Cannot See, like that didn't really go anywhere.
Yeah, I feel like people that read the book and then watched it really loved it. I've heard good things, but I just don't think enough people were watching it, right?
Mm-hmm. So let's talk about comedy for a second, because one show that the 3 of us have in common, and this is where I need to plug Jordan. Jordan is at TV Talk with Jaywalk. Did I get that right?
Yes, correct.
Okay. One of my favorite people to follow, but on Wednesdays I have to mute him because he's like live tweeting Abbott Elementary, and if I'm not like live watching it, I have to avoid my Twitter feed. But
Yeah.
I know we all love that show, and I'm gonna start off with something controversial, which is that I think season 3 is the best season of the show. Like, I think the current stretch of episodes are the best that show has ever been.
They're definitely hitting their stride, and I think because they're expanding the universe. This is the first season where they're really going outside of the school, and I think Quinta took a really good playbook out of Parks and Recreation. Because it took like maybe 2 or 3 seasons. I would actually probably say season 3 for them to kind of break out and kind of get into Pawnee a little bit, introduce more characters that complement like the main characters, and that is exactly what Abbott's doing, and it's definitely working to their advantage.
So my question is, do we think that the Bear is doing a clean sweep again, or is there room for Abbott and Jean Smart and Hannah Einbinder? Like, do they fit into the conversation at all, or is it just going to be the Bear all the way down?
I personally think Hacks is going to be the conversation again, depending on when the Bear drops, and I think it's another month or so, June, I think. So it's going to drop right in the window. I just don't know. I don't think so. This is what I think. I think Hacks comes back with a force at the Emmys. I think Io made a mistake moving to lead because Jean Smart is coming back. I'm glad Quinta won last year because I think Jean Smart is such a force. I think she's going to take it. I would bet Hacks winning Best Comedy again. I think it's an industry show. It's an industry show, and the Bear. I think it had a great run, especially after last year. I don't think they're going to be able to do that twice. That's just me.
Right.
I could be wrong. I could be right, but I just don't think it's gonna. I think that was like its moment. I mean, like there was no better time in January than it like doing its clean sweep. It had all the momentum in the world. There was really nothing else in its way. I don't think it railroads through again.
I don't know. I've seen like the first maybe 2 to 3 episodes of Hacks, like the first season. I enjoyed them when I watched them, and it was one of those things that like for whatever reason I never went back to. I don't know why. But maybe I'm just riding high from rewatching the first season of The Bear, just doing that rewatch. But I think depending on how this season is, I think it could be like, I don't know, a major competitor. I don't know. I just feel like I see more people talking about The Bear, but maybe that's because I haven't seen Hack, so maybe I am not seeing as many people talk about it, or maybe people are talking about it, I'm just not noticing it. But I don't know. So Hacks is what, on season 3 as well?
The third season is airing right now.
Oh, okay.
You would really like Hacks, Erica, because it's about the industry, so they have a lot of like jokes and stuff, and like
I really enjoyed the first few episodes that I watched, and I don't remember why I didn't go back to it. Like,
probably just forgot.
That
happens all the time. I forget about shows all the time.
Yep.
Well, I think it'll be interesting too with The Bear, because it's like, how many guest performances are they going to get in for the Fishes episode? Like, I feel like it's just going to dominate.
Yes, it has to.
Yeah, especially nominations wise. Like, maybe they don't end up getting all of the wins, especially if they're going to have multiple people competing with each other in different categories. But I feel like nominations wise, it could be the leader on nomination morning, honestly.
I wouldn't disagree with that. I think like it's going to be high in the nominations. I just don't think it's going to win everything again.
Mm-hmm. Well, so drama to me is the biggest, let's say, toss up to keep it PG category, because I just have no idea. I really don't. I mean, The Crown, The Gilded Age, The Morning Show, but there's like 8 slots, so I really don't know.
There's just nothing like really good, I mean, there's like nothing that stands out. There's nothing great. Everything is good. Nothing is great. You know, there's not that one show that's going to be like bulldoze its way through unless it's going to be The Crown. I mean, you know, if they want to do like a farewell kiss to it, but I just have no idea.
But I
could
mean,
even
my God, I have been loyal to The Crown from the beginning. I love that show, but season 6 was not. I really struggled. And like I said, I love, give me like a period drama. That's my bread and butter. But I just did not. Season 6, I really just did not connect with it at all.
Yeah, I mean, and I'm looking on, you know, what some of the top shows would be, and I don't even think I'm watching any like drama series right now, just because there's nothing really like standing out. You know, we talked about The Curse. I don't know if you ladies saw Mr. and Mrs. Smith, which I surprisingly liked, with Donald Glover and Anna Erskine. But I didn't know if that was going to be a drama or a limited series. But I would love to see that get in. Like that, I would really, really love to see some nominations for Mr. and Mrs. Smith. If you guys want something to like binge, it's kind of easy. Very, very beautiful show. I mean, the cinematography on that is like chef's kiss.
I didn't watch it, but now I keep seeing it all over the predictions, and I'm like, well, if it's going to be a major contender, I'll have to get to it. And you mentioned Jordan Shogun kind of making the move into drama, which we need to keep our limited series limited. I don't know, this new trend of giving limited series additional seasons is so upsetting to me. So does it need a second season? No, but it would be a brilliant strategy if they did move it to drama, because I mean,
what I read, I think the Hollywood Reporter had something recently, and the reason why I think this is just like an Emmys play, you know, John Landgraf just like wants a best drama Emmy, and he deserves it. I mean, like FX has like some of like the best shows in like cable like TV history, and it's kind of a shock that they don't have one. But I mean, this season, and I haven't watched all of it, but I've heard great things. But the one thing that makes me think that it's just an Emmys grab is that the first season, it was only intended to be a first season because, from what I understand, it covers the book from start to finish. And if I'm wrong, just let me know. But also, production took 5 years. It took 5 years for production on season 1. So you're going to tell me in the next like few months you're going to decide to do a season 2. You have no material, you have nothing in the pipeline, and you're going to tell me all of a sudden you want a second season because it's buzzy, you know, and you want to jump categories. Like that doesn't sit right with me, and that's why I think it's just an awards grab.
I mean, it absolutely is an awards play, but if I was an awards strategist for FX, I would be telling them that they need to do a season 2 and go into drama, because...
But that's where, like, you know, that's where the Academy needs to, like, step in and be like, hey, like, this is a little fraudulent.
They do, but they haven't yet, so they might as well take advantage of it. You know what I mean?
We'll
like,
see.
Yeah. But no, I agree with you. It's definitely a grabby, I lost my train of thought.
Wait, you guys were talking about Shogun?
Yeah, which by the way is gorgeous. I watched the first episode on my computer, and then I was like, no, this is not a computer show.
It's
this
a
is
full screen.
Full screen adventure. Yeah.
I do want to continue it.
Yeah, I do want to say I wanted to plug The Gilded Age, which is just pure delight. And if the drama field is empty, please look to The Gilded Age, because its costumes are perfect, production design perfect. Carrie Coon is like delicious, like eating scenery in the most delicious gowns and just perfection. And in the case of The Gilded Age, the stakes are really low. I mean, there's like a whole episode where the drama is like whether the waiter is gonna spill wine on the guest of honor on purpose, but it's like so delightful, and they build tension so beautifully that you're like on the edge of your seat being like, wait, are they gonna spill the wine? It's just delicious, and I love it, and I want more people to watch it so that it'll stay on TV forever and ever and ever.
Now, I loved the first season. Like, I have to, and I'm not like a period show at all. It's very, very tough, especially like that far back. Like Downton Abbey, I just can't get into. Just can't relate to it. I think it was like Carrie Coon and Christine Baranski that got me like hooked. And like, okay, let me try it. And it was it was just light. It was fun. And now you got me wanting to like continue season 2.
The second season is so much better too because I think it's a little bit more focused. Like I think the first season just had so many characters and plot lines, but I feel like season 2 they've kind of honed it in a little bit.
Okay.
So it's like a huge, vast improvement. And I do remember where I wanted to go just in terms of drama. What I'm really interested in is the fact that the Emmys have sort of famously been hesitant to embrace genre, shall we say. They embrace it more than the Oscars do, but they typically don't. And so with drama series so empty, that just makes me think like how much are they going to be willing to go into shows that they don't normally touch on with something like Loki, Three Body Problem. I mean, Mr. and Mrs. Smith is genre E. And then you have like that Star Wars show, right? I'm very curious to see sort of with the lack of options what that is where are they gonna go and what is that gonna lead to in terms of nominations? What are they gonna look like now that they don't have, the stereotypical Succession or thing to sort of go to as their default, so to speak?
See, I'm wondering because, and I'm going to throw a curveball, but I'm thinking if there's going to be anything from broadcast, and that's going to be probably a big fat zero. But I'm really anxious to see if Elsbeth can make a play. Just because it's the Kings, it's a great Good Wife spinoff. I know, Evil and the Good Fight never really like broke through, but I'm wondering because Carrie Preston, especially if actress, like Carrie Preston has an Emmy for this role. So I'm wondering if they will remember her. I think the show itself is fun and light. It's definitely not Good Wife. It's definitely not Good Fight. It's definitely not Evil. But Elsbeth is great. Like the character is the same. I wish there were a little bit more depth behind her supporting characters.
Mm.
So maybe not drama series, but maybe like I would be interested to see if she can crack lead actress.
But that's not out of the realm of possibility for 2 reasons. It's actually on CBS. They didn't put it on Paramount Plus, so that clearly means they have a lot of confidence. And they gave it a season 2 renewal like very early,
quickly.
So that makes me think that they know that they have something, and they're gonna want to put their strength behind it.
Yeah, fingers crossed. I think drama would be a huge stretch because it's a good show. I think the characters need to be fully fleshed out more, aside from Elsbeth.
So in terms of revivals, because I feel like the Emmys have not really embraced these revivals very much. I think the first season of Will and Grace, when it came back, got like the Megan Mullally nomination, but in general, they just haven't been going there, so to speak. Do you think that Frasier, Jordan, do you think Kelsey Grammer could come back? I mean, writing anything, or do you think that?
I don't think so. And I will, anything to, say positive things about Frasier. I've seen people like predict it, which I was shocked, for comedy as well as Kelsey Grammer. I mean, it just really depends. Lead actor is just always such a boring category, and it's like anybody can really get in. But it's like, even looking on like Go Derby, they're like everywhere. You got the 2 guys from like, you got Steve Martin and Martin Short. Only Murders in the Building. Jeremy Allen White's definitely getting back in. Maybe Larry David. So if you just think about those 4, so who's gonna like crack 5? Could Kelsey Grammer? I just don't think so. I mean, there would have to be like also, but everybody, there's a lot of people like predicting him. So maybe there was no other option. I'm thinking, comedy wise, where else would you go? I wouldn't be surprised. I don't think it's best comedy. it's definitely, and Shadan and I were talking about this before we started, it's just not the original Frasier, for a myriad of reasons. But I don't know. I wish we had like a Globe season to kind of see where things were. I think the strike just kind of threw a wrench in like everything. You know, if we kind of had like a regular fall season, if we had like a Globe cycle, we would kind of know where we would be in this part of the year going into Emmy voting season. But it's just everything's up in the air.
Yeah, you mentioned the final season of Curb, which I thought. Does anyone here watch Curb?
I haven't in years.
Yeah, I've only seen a few one-off episodes here and there that, like, I haven't seen it like consistently.
Yeah, I mean, Jeremy Allen White it's basically like figuring out who else is gonna fill out the category while they engrave his Emmy.
Yeah.
But I really, really liked this last season of Curb. I thought it was really well done. The finale was absolutely brilliant and so clever.
I've heard nothing but good things. Like exactly what you're saying is all I've heard.
So I would love to see Larry David in the conversation, or just maybe if he's not going to win actor, okay, but like writing, that show went out on such an incredible high.
And I think why it might be like he might, because people know it's the end, and you know it's like not giving it to him, but like it's the last time to do it. So,
and also like, and I don't know if this is like an HBO or if it's a Max entity. I think it's HBO, whatever. They just really don't have much. You know, they have Hacks, you know, and they usually always have like one or two shows in the game. So they're going to push it. And I think it'll get what it usually gets. You know, I think it'll like grab like 4 or 5 nominations. It'll get into comedy, Larry David to get in. You know, it'll probably get like writing, editing, you know, things here and there. But for some reason, it's never been a big, you know, Emmy sweeper, you know, big Emmy winner, you know, and I don't think that this year is going to change that, because there's, you know, you got Jeremy Allen White right there for actor, so that people aren't going to vote for Larry David over Jeremy Allen White. That's my personal thought. And then you have, for comedy series, you have Hacks, Bear, Abbott standing in its way. So I don't see a clear way for that to, you know, kind of go out in glory.
Yeah, I completely agree. As we sort of close out, I wanted to know if there was any shows that you guys were maybe wanted to advocate for, whether they're in the conversation or not, or a particular performer, just anything you think should be in consideration that's maybe not as much of a part of the conversation right now.
I have something. It's very controversial. It's very, very broadcast sitcom-y of me. But I think I'm a huge fan of the Conners. I watch the Conners just as much as I watch Abbott Elementary. Huge fan of, you know, the original, you know, Roseanne. I think it's one of the best written sitcoms of all time. And this season, Laurie Metcalf has done great work. They wrapped up like a 35-year-old storyline with her and Estelle Parsons, who's like in her 90s and still acting. And, you know, they've always just had a contentious mother-daughter relationship, and they wrapped it up so perfectly that it like choked me up, that episode. And I think the writing, I think both of them should be recognized somehow. Won't be understand that, but my comedy advocate, which won't happen, it's probably going to be them too.
Nice.
And she's an Emmy winner. She's an Emmy nominee.
Yeah.
You know, same role. So, but it's not going to happen.
Anyone else on your list?
Let's see. I'm really going to be, depending on how the season ends, I really think Colin Farrell would be fun for Sugar, wherever they land that. I don't know if that's going to be series or limited series. I really need to watch this, and I want to do it like ASAP. I want to watch Palm Royale, because people are saying like Kristen Wiig is phenomenal in that, even though I've heard mixed. You know, I heard the first four were great, and the end it didn't stick the landing, so I'm kind of hesitant. But I've heard Kristen Wiig is fantastic in that, so I want to check that out and kind of give my thoughts on that on a later time, because I would love to see Kristen Wiig walk away with Emmy one day.
Mm-hmm. I haven't seen that, but I definitely see her getting in a nomination. Just because she's like a comedy darling, and I feel like if you're looking for people to round out your category, you're gonna go with a name. And similarly, Maya Rudolph for Loot, like I can absolutely see a lot of love for her enough to get a nomination. Again, with the comedy categories, it really does feel like predetermined, and you're kind of looking for people to fill out slots, and I just think they're going to go with previous nominees, previous winners, names. I don't know if we're going to get very many inspired nominations, you know what I mean? Like I feel like whenever there's empty slates, they go with what they know.
I think just with like the truncated season, you know, there's just it's weird. You know, you're gonna get the Abbotts, you're gonna get the repeats. You know, I think this is gonna be a big, you know, repeat year with nominations. Yeah. Whoever was able to, you know, get in production and, you know, get onto air. I think that's what it's gonna be.
And if you're an Emmy voter, you're probably in the same position that we are in, which is like you haven't gotten around to anything. Especially if you were sort of in the chaos of like what's coming back, what's not coming back. There's probably a lot that's gotten lost in the shuffle. Erica, did you have any particular performers or shows or things that you want to get to that you haven't gotten to? Like what's on your watch list?
Gosh, yeah. Well, so I think this is definitely in the conversation, but Jessica Gunning for Baby Reindeer, I think she like has to get an Emmy.
Run away with it.
Yeah, and it's just so like her performance is like unbelievable. I forgot a new season of The Morning Show came out. That's one that I've like always consistently watched, that I like, you know, it's that thing where it's like I kind of want to see it through, and then it's like that thing where I don't know. Have you both watched it?
I'm caught up on it. I like The Morning Show because again, it's one of those shows that feels like it's designed for me. Like it's about journalism and it has Jennifer Aniston. So I feel like I'm a lot kinder to that show than maybe other people are. I feel like season 3 kind of went into like camp territory, but has embraced that a little bit. So I liked it. I mean, is it the best thing on TV? No, but did I have fun watching it? And because the drama category is so empty, like I think it is going to be a major contender. So yeah, like Billy Crudup, I think he's it's one of those two that like when the first season came out, I had like said to my parents like, oh my god, you have to watch this, and they like never really watch anything but like the few things that they watch. So like they watched it and they loved it, and they like watched season 2, and I think they were watching season 3, and I'm like, oh my god, I gotta like watch this because they're still watching it, and I suggested it to them. I definitely need to watch Hacks. I need to go back to that and like, you know, catch up because both of you have such good things to say about it. And I do think I would really love it too. I need to watch Shogun. I will say 3 Body Problem. I think you both mentioned that you'd only seen a couple episodes. I will say it's not my style of like television and not my style of like genre of show that I would watch, or really, I mean, I liked it more than I thought I would, is what I'll say. And I think it's really interesting and really different and really unique. And I like am excited to see where it goes. Like I'm excited. Like I finished it. I want to see the next season. Is it like the best thing ever? No, but it's good. Like I think it's good. You know, I think it's worth a watch. And then like I'm just really excited for the new season of The Bear. Really excited for Severance. I know I mentioned that earlier, but those are 2 that I like can't wait to watch. I'm just excited for like new like content with those people. And then I'm also like, when's the next season of White Lotus coming out? You know, it's just like
I
We're
feel like
probably still a year away from that.
yeah, I was gonna
Yeah.
say, I feel like it's time. It's time, but everything's so far behind. So, yeah. Oh, and also Ripley. I was really excited for that. Did you guys watch that?
No, but it was on my radar. Down
Yeah.
the
It's on my list, but Ripley feels like the kind of thing that I have to like sit down and focus on it. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And I don't feel like I've been in the right headspace to do that yet.
Yeah.
But
There's been a few times where I'm like, I need to watch it, and then I sit down, I'm like, it's not the night for it. You know what I mean? Like, it's not the night. So,
exactly.
but I feel like it's so my thing, you know? Like, so I don't know. That's really it for me. I mean, like, I just like feel like TV is so hard to keep up with because there's so much stuff, you know? And I don't know. It's just like I think I always want to like make sure whatever I'm watching is like worth my time. And I feel like all the things I've watched have been worth my time. So what about you,
You
Siobhan?
know what show we haven't mentioned that like all the people in my regular non-Twitter bubble are talking about is Fallout. Like I wonder
Oh yeah.
if that's going to be a thing. Or you have a show, what is that? It's Slow Horses with like Gary Oldman. I'm like, is this the year that all the like dad TV shows that couldn't get in before like finally make it in? Who knows?
I wonder if Yellowstone's eligible.
Yeah, right. Like,
This would have been the year for Yellowstone.
is one of the 50 spin-offs like Emmy eligible this season?
Is Fallout the video game one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think so.
am
And I never
yeah.
played the game, so I
Yeah,
just
my
I don't think
boyfriend
I
was
would
watching
watch
it, and he was like, "Oh, like it was like, oh my god, this is just like the game. Oh my god, this is just like the game." So I feel like the people who are big fans of the game are like really loving it, but I can't relate. So,
But a few shows that I wanted to mention that we haven't talked about.
Yeah.
If Emmy voters are looking to go into genre territory, if they have nowhere else to go, I love Silo. I think Rebecca Ferguson is fabulous in that show. I really like, which this is going to be a major Emmy contender, but what is the, Jordan, help me out, the Jonathan Bailey, Matt Bomer.
Oh, Fellow Travelers.
Fellow Travelers. It is.
Yeah,
It's probably the best miniseries I've seen this year. And I hope that both Matt Bomer and Jonathan Bailey get in. And honestly, Allison Williams kind of blew me away. I think she's fantastic, and she's probably going to be overlooked. But she was really, really good. And if they are going to go back to what they know, I have to say Abbott Elementary, William Jefferson Davis. So good. He's like my favorite part of every single episode. So
I'm hoping Lisa Ann Walter gets in. Yeah, I think her and Chris Perfetti, both deserve something in due time. And who knows how long Abbott is going to last. Quint was one of those, creators where I feel like, after season 5, she'll be done. Just to leave on a high. So I think we're probably closer to the end than we are at the beginning on that. So I would love to see both of them get in eventually.
Okay, Jordan, as we let you go, do you have any final thoughts you'd like to share with us? And B, do you have any pop culture obsessions, books, TV, music, whatever, that you would like to share with us before you go?
Oh God, I did not prepare for any of those. The first one, I'm just, happy to be here. Thank you, ladies, so much. So I think that's my final thought on this, kind of, reignited my TV podcast juices a little bit. And for, the pop culture, right now I'm going to like go back to my reality TV, I'm we're at the end of Scandival and, Vanderpump Rules. And I'm excited for it to end. I hope they all just kind of walk away and just kind of go into reality TV sunset. I think they gave us the best that they could give us, and I'm ready for something new or just something like nothing else from them. So I think that's my pop culture. And if there's any, Bravo guys and girlies listening, they probably either agree or disagree with me. So,
Erica, what about you? You're smiling over there.
I like hearing you talk about, like, you guys talk about things. It makes me happy. I, of course, am just still eating up all the Taylor Swift content, always, all day, every day.
who is that baby that was on the floor? Like, who left their baby on the ground? Who left the baby on the ground?
Wait, are you talking about the meme?
No, there was like
somebody left a kid in
it was
Paris.
like
Oh
or
my
was
God.
that fake?
Wait, I
Or was
didn't
that-
see this. I didn't see
Wait.
this.
I think like today.
Okay.
Yeah, but like somebody
Yeah,
left a baby like on the ground at one of her concerts in like
Oh my God,
Paris.
that's hilarious because that is literally that meme. You know that Sims meme? That's what I thought you were talking about.
No.
It's a literal human baby like on the ground while people are like dancing around to Taylor Swift.
Bless. I love that. That's hilarious. Oh my God, you have to send it to me, please. When we get off here. I've like barely been on my phone all day.
Not for that baby. It probably wasn't very fun.
That baby's at a Taylor Swift concert. I think it's fine. So yeah, just eating up all the content from that, of course. Otherwise, like, you know, it's just also that this is like not pop culture or anything really, but Shadan, we've been talking about like books and stuff, and it's just I love this time of year because I read so much more when I'm like able to like sit outside in nice weather. So I've just like been upping my reading game. I love to read, and it's funny because you would think I would read like in the wintertime when you're like stuck inside, but really my time of reading is like being able to sit outside in the sun and like read. So I started a new thriller book today, so that was fun for me.
I love a
What's
good
it
thriller.
called? Yeah.
It is, look, I have it right here. It is The Other Woman. It was a Reese Witherspoon book club book at some point, so it's good.
She might adapt it soon.
Yeah, exactly.
Probably.
Exactly.
Coming to Peacock in 2026.
Exactly. Yeah. I don't remember like hearing about this one or seeing it or anything, but a friend of mine did like her baby shower theme was like books. So like everyone like their favor was a wrapped book and it just said what kind of genre it was. So like obviously I picked the thriller and this is what I got. So yeah, it was fun.
That is very clever.
Yeah.
I am perpetually depressed because babies can go sit on the floor at Taylor Swift concerts, and I will never be near a Taylor Swift concert. The amount of times,
Shadan, do not say that. We will get you to a concert.
You gotta manifest.
The amount of times that I've like gone on SeatGeek or whatever and be like, you can't do it. Like it's out of the realm of possibility.
You
can.
And
also, so did either of you see the Northern Lights this? Was it?
No, I didn't. I wasn't able to. I'm in Chicago, and I think maybe the way I'm like I'm looking out the window right now, and I'm facing north, and we weren't able to. But it was like in the middle of the night, so I wish.
First of all, I love Chicago, so shout out to Chicago. Okay, so I didn't know this was happening, but I had like a friend like that lives in Maryland, like post on Instagram. She got a ton of pictures of the Northern Lights and they looked incredible. And last night we were driving home and the whole sky was like hot pink. Like hot pink. It wasn't like it wasn't like it didn't look like the Northern Lights, but it was hot pink and we were driving home and Tyler was like, "Do you think those are like from the Northern Lights?" I was like, "Maybe. I don't know." Like this I've never you've seen like cotton candy pink kind of like skies, like a sunset. It was like bright hot pink in the sky. It was like Barbie was back or something. I don't know.
Wow.
Yeah, but no, I it's been happening. Like it's been happening here locally, Shadan. So I don't know.
That's really cool. Yeah. I'm in the Houston struggle because the eclipse, I did not get a good view of that. Didn't get any sort of light show in my sky. Didn't get Eras tour tickets. So like I'm trying to like not.
Shadan, we will get you to an Eras concert.
Yeah, I don't know.
We're gonna GoFundMe. Let's get a GoFundMe started.
Oh my god. Yeah, if somebody is happening to listen to our episode. But no, books wise, so I love Taylor Jenkins Reid, and the last book of hers that I hadn't read was this book called Forever Interrupted, which I think was one of her first books, which is like really devastating. It's about this woman whose husband dies like a week after they get married. So really good though. So I've been reading that, and then I need to get to the Apes movie sometime this week. I haven't gotten to that one yet. But it's all been Baby Reindeer, The Curse, and FOMO on Instagram is what my week has looked like.
I need to see this baby. You guys have to send it to me, please.
I swear it was on
I
like
don't know how I missed it, but I
Us
barely get on my
Weekly or
phone.
something. So I'm like, this is real. It was, yeah.
Okay, Jordan, tell everyone where they can find you because you're a pure delight and everyone needs to follow you.
You can follow me on Twitter, X, whatever we're calling it now, at TV Talk with Jaywalk.
And Erica, what about you?
Yep, E-Rock Reviews on. I also still call it Twitter, so I'm glad you said Twitter.
Yeah, 100%.
Twitter, X, whatever. Yeah, E-Rock Reviews.
And I am at Shadan Larkey everywhere. As always, thank you so much for listening. Please rate, review, follow the In Session Film podcast, and send us your thoughts on the TV season, what you've been watching, what you need to watch. And don't put your children on the floor at concerts. Have a good one, and we'll catch you later.
Bye.
Bye.